If you're a man over 60 and you feel like things are slowing down where it matters most with less energy, cold mornings, and diminished vigor, pay attention. The problem isn't just age. It's your blood flow. The same system that once fueled your drive, confidence, and passion is quietly fading. And here's the surprise. For countless men, the solution wasn't a blue pill or a medical prescription. It came from something most doctors overlook. Just a teaspoon of oil taken the right way every morning. I'm Dr. Midkar, and for over 30 years, I've helped men across the country reclaim their strength, stamina, and pride. No tricks, no side effects, just nature working with your body, not against it. I know it sounds too easy. A teaspoon of oil, really? But once you discover how this increases nitric oxide, repairs your blood vessels, and even helps with testosterone, you'll understand why this old-school morning habit is transforming the lives of men well into their 70s and beyond. In this video, I'll show you exactly how the right type of oil can heal, which ones to avoid, and how most men sabotage their results before they even begin. I'll also share how to combine 3 simple habits to boost your circulation, clarity, and confidence in less than 10 minutes each morning. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal could unlock the flow, energy, and manhood you thought you had lost. Before we start, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button and activate the bell so you won't miss a single tip designed to help you restore your energy, circulation, and confidence after 60. And if this message resonates with you, write a 1 in the comments. If not, write a 0. Your feedback helps me create better content to serve you. Alright, let's get started. To truly understand how this simple morning oil ritual works, we first need to talk about what's happening silently inside your body after 60. It's something most men don't even notice until it starts affecting their energy, clarity, and performance. The hidden crisis after 60 is that blood flow begins to fade. I still remember the moment when one of my longtime patients, Frank, a 67-year-old retired engineer, sat in front of me and said something that has stuck with me ever since. "Doc, I don't feel sick, but I don't feel alive either." He had no pain, no serious diagnosis, but something inside him was slipping, a silent loss of vitality, confidence, and energy he couldn't explain. And I knew exactly what was happening. What Frank was experiencing wasn't just aging. It was a gradual, silent decline in his blood flow, a process I've seen unfold in thousands of men after 60. The truth is, your circulatory system is the engine that drives everything: your energy, your focus, your strength, yes, your performance in the bedroom. But over time, especially as you age, that engine starts to slow down. Your blood vessels become stiff. The soft, flexible walls that once allowed blood to flow freely begin to harden. Your body stops producing as much nitric oxide, the molecule that helps blood vessels relax and open up. The result? Colder hands and feet, fatigue hitting earlier in the day, and a silent but troubling change in your ability to feel like a man. Most men attribute this to age, but I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be that way. Your body hasn't forgotten how to heal. It just needs the right tools and signals to wake up again. And that's exactly where this simple teaspoon of oil comes in. Because when taken the right way, it acts as a natural switch to reactivate blood flow from the inside. The morning ritual that awakens blood flow. When I first heard about men taking a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil on an empty stomach every morning to improve their circulation, I admit I was skeptical. I've built my career on science, clinical research, and evidence-based treatments. So the idea that something so simple could make a significant difference honestly sounded like wishful thinking. But then I started paying attention. I listened to my patients, men like Harold, 68, who discreetly started the ritual after we talked and came back weeks later looking 5 years younger. He didn't need to say much. His energy spoke for itself. What began as a gentle experiment soon revealed something powerful. Men who consistently followed this ritual began to notice subtle, then significant, changes. They felt warmer in the mornings, more focused, more awake in their own skin, and perhaps most importantly, more responsive in moments of intimacy. And it wasn't just them. I decided to try it myself. Just a teaspoon of high-quality, cold-pressed, extra virgin olive oil, rich in polyphenols, taken before anything else in the morning. No coffee first, no food, just the oil. After a few days, I noticed I wasn't dragging myself through my morning routine. My thoughts were clearer. My body felt more ready. My wife noticed the change before I did. That's when I knew this wasn't a placebo. This was blood flow, waking up again. And if you add a small squeeze of lemon or a tiny pinch of black pepper, you take it even further, activating your liver, enhancing nutrient absorption, and setting the stage for deep cellular repair. But here's the key: not all oils heal. In fact, most of what's on store shelves could be working silently against you. Let me show you exactly what to avoid, and what your body really needs, what science says, why it works so well. I remember one night, long after clinic hours, sitting at my desk, surrounded by piles of research articles, trying to understand why this simple ritual with olive oil was having such a profound effect, not just on my patients, but on me. The changes we were seeing were not minor. Men who had been tired, foggy-minded, disconnected suddenly felt clearer, warmer, and more confident. And not just in the bedroom. It was in how they walked, how they spoke, how they engaged with life again. I needed to know the science behind this. That's when I delved into the role of the endothelium, the thin layer that lines your blood vessels. It turns out this layer is responsible for producing nitric oxide, the molecule that tells your arteries to relax and open up. When you're young, it works like clockwork, but after 60, that layer stiffens, inflames, and your ability to produce nitric oxide drops dramatically. That's when problems begin: poor circulation, cold extremities, low energy, and yes, weaker erections. But extra virgin olive oil, especially the kind rich in polyphenols, does something extraordinary. It restores endothelial function, reduces oxidative stress, the silent damage that accumulates with age, protects your arteries, and even helps stimulate Leydig cells in your testicles, which are responsible for testosterone production. An Italian study showed that men who regularly consumed this type of olive oil had higher testosterone levels and better vascular health than those who didn't. This isn't about forcing your body to do something unnatural. It's about giving it the nourishment it needs to do what it's always known how to do: heal, flow, and function as a man again. Now, hearing this from the science is one thing, but hearing from real men like you is something entirely different. Let me share some stories that changed my approach to medicine forever. Real men, real results. There's something powerful about hearing another man say, "I thought it was all over, but now I feel like myself again." I've heard those words more times than I can count, spoken softly, often with disbelief, by men who had almost given up on the idea that things could improve. They weren't bodybuilders or fitness fanatics, just real men, husbands, grandfathers, veterans, men who had lost their fire not because they were broken, but because no one had shown them how to reignite it. Take Harold, for example. He was 68, a thoughtful, kind retired teacher, but clearly weighed down when he first walked into my office. "Doc, it's not just in the bedroom," he said. "It's everything. I feel like I'm fading away." I started him on the ritual. A teaspoon of high-quality olive oil every morning with lemon and warm water. Nothing fancy. 2 weeks later, he called me. His voice was lighter. "I woke up this morning feeling clear. My hands were warm." I approached my wife and something just felt right. That moment meant more to him than any prescription. Then there was George, 72, a truck driver with high blood pressure and years of frustration behind him. He didn't want another pill. He wanted to feel like a man again. Within a month of being consistent, everything began to change: his energy, his posture, his confidence. His wife came to his follow-up appointment and quietly said, "Thank you for bringing my husband back to me." These aren't isolated miracles. They're proof that when you give your body what it needs, it responds. But here's what most men overlook: this ritual only works if you do it right. Unfortunately, most men are sabotaging their results from day one. Let me show you how to avoid that. The most common mistakes men make and how to avoid them. Over the years, I've seen too many good men abandon this powerful ritual, not because it didn't work, but because they unknowingly did it wrong. And I'll tell you, that's one of the most frustrating things to witness as a doctor. These men were trying. They had hope, but no one had shown them the details that make all the difference. One man came in excited to try the olive oil ritual. That same day, he went out, bought a bottle at the grocery store, and started taking it every morning right after his bacon and eggs breakfast. A month later, he sat in front of me disappointed. "Doc, I haven't felt much change." I asked him to show me the bottle. It wasn't extra virgin, it wasn't cold pressed, and it was labeled as light refined oil stripped of the nutrients he needed. It wasn't his fault. The labels are confusing, and the food industry doesn't make it easy. This is what I tell every patient now. The oil must be extra virgin, cold-pressed, and rich in polyphenols. That's what helps your arteries heal and your blood vessels open up. Timing also matters. It should be taken first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, no food, no coffee, so your body can absorb it directly and use it efficiently. And perhaps most importantly, you must be consistent. Skipping days or taking it occasionally won't create the momentum your body needs to repair and restore. When done right, this ritual becomes a message to your body. It's time to come back to life. And if you want to take it even further to truly boost your circulation, there are some simple practices you can add to multiply the benefits. Let me show you how. Stack the ritual. Boost circulation even more. Once you commit to the olive oil ritual every morning, something changes. You start to feel it slowly at first, as if your body remembers how to come alive again. But here's where things get exciting. When you add just a few focused practices right after the oil, everything starts to work faster, the results deepen. The energy grows. It's like your whole system begins to synchronize again, just like it used to. One of the most powerful additions I teach my patients is something called the 4-2-6 breathing technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 2, then exhale slowly for 6. Just 2 or 3 minutes of this rhythm calms your nervous system, opens your blood vessels, and puts your body into a healing state. I've had men tell me they feel clearer, more focused, even emotionally more stable within days of starting. Then there's what I call the power pose. Stand tall, hands on your hips, feet shoulder width apart, and take a few deep breaths. Sounds simple, right? But this position actually reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, and helps gently boost testosterone. More than anything, it reminds you of your strength, reconnecting you with that quiet confidence that age can sometimes steal away. And finally, a short morning walk, just 10 minutes outdoors in the sunlight, can work wonders. It wakes up your muscles, gets the nitric oxide flowing, and sets the tone for your entire day. These aren't workouts. They're signals, reminders to your body that it's time to act, to circulate, to live fully again. Now, you might be wondering, is it really just about better blood flow? Or could this ritual be affecting something even deeper, something tied to the core of who you are as a man? Let's explore that next. The bigger picture. This is more than erections. When most men start this ritual, they're focused on one thing: reclaiming their performance. And that's a perfectly valid reason. I get it. Feeling like you've lost that part of yourself can be painful in a way that's hard to talk about. But what has surprised me over the years is how often the men I work with end up discovering something even more powerful. Because as circulation improves, something else begins to return, not just function, but identity. One of my patients, Alan, a 70-year-old former businessman, told me something I'll never forget. "Doc, I came to you to fix things down below, but after 3 weeks, I feel like my brain has turned back on." And that's exactly what happens. Better blood flow doesn't just affect one part of your body. It nourishes your entire system, your heart, your brain, your hormones. Everything runs on oxygen-rich blood. And when you restore that flow, everything starts to change. Suddenly, you sleep more deeply, wake up with more energy, think more clearly, and begin to move differently, speak with more presence, reconnect with your partner in ways you haven't felt in years. And perhaps most importantly, you start to feel like yourself again, not just in private, but in everyday life. That quiet confidence returns, the steady energy, the sense of purpose. This isn't just about intimacy. It's about reclaiming your place in the world as a man who still has strength, clarity, and drive to offer. That's why this ritual is so much more than it appears. It's a doorway back to the man you remember being. But even with all these benefits, it only works if you do it the right way. And sadly, most men are sabotaging their results from day one. Let me show you how to avoid that. Final thoughts: a teaspoon can change your life. After accompanying thousands of men over the last 30 years, I've learned something powerful. Your body wants to heal. Even after 60, even if you've felt numb, tired, and disconnected for years, deep down, your body still remembers how to come alive again. You just need to give it the right signal. And sometimes that signal is as simple as a single teaspoon. Every morning, this ritual may seem small from the outside, but don't let its simplicity fool you. When you choose the right oil, take it on an empty stomach, stay consistent, and combine it with a few mindful habits, you're sending a clear message to your body: I'm ready to come back. That teaspoon becomes more than just a routine. It becomes a promise to yourself to reclaim strength, clarity, and confidence. I've seen men walk into my office feeling defeated, and just weeks later, stand taller, speak with more power, and smile with a quiet sense of pride. Their wives notice it, their friends notice it, but most importantly, they notice it because the man they thought they had lost, the one who felt sharp, capable, and fully present, starts to return. This isn't about chasing youth or pretending you're 20 again. It's about reclaiming the strength of the man you are now with all the wisdom and fire you still carry, and it starts with a small step. So, the question is, are you ready to begin? Because in the final moments of this video, I want to leave you with something that could completely change your next chapter and remind you that your best days might still be ahead. Conclusion: the first step toward reclaiming your vitality. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's that your body isn't finished. Your energy, your strength, your clarity aren't lost, they've just been waiting. And sometimes all it takes to bring them back is a simple step in the right direction. Today, you discovered how blood flow weakens after 60, affecting everything from your hands and feet to your focus and performance. You learned how just a teaspoon of the right olive oil, taken first thing in the morning, can boost circulation, increase nitric oxide, and balance testosterone naturally. Have you seen the proof? Have you heard from real men who tried this simple habit and felt their lives change significantly? You know the mistakes to avoid and the 3 easy steps to multiply the benefits, helping you feel like your old self again in mind, body, and passion. But nothing happens until you start. I've seen men transform with this small daily step, and I've seen what happens when they wait. A teaspoon won't fix everything overnight, but when done right, it's your first silent commitment, a sign that you're still in the game. So now the lesson is yours. Will today be your day to start? Because your next chapter isn't written yet, and you might be surprised by how much strength you still have left.